Teenagers are rarely taught exactly how to handle conflict. When kids are little, toddler age, early elementary school, we quite literally sit them down, teach them step by step how to deal with conflict. Things change as they get to those teenage years, and we're not teaching our kids exactly how to deal with this. Our teenagers are scrolling and they're learning to avoid, explode, and even vent online.
Hello, and thank you for joining the Champion Within podcast, your premier go-to spot for unlocking your winning mindset. Whether you're an athlete looking to elevate your game to the next level, a coach leading the charge, an enthusiastic parent cheering from the sidelines, or an educator molding young minds, the Champion Within podcast episodes are packed with value, sharing the tools and strategies to unlock your potential and rise to new heights. Hosted by mentor, coach, and mindset leader Kate McCauley. Let's sit back and enjoy today's episode while discovering your champion within. And now, here's Kate.
When you get to the middle of the season, whether it's youth, high school, college, teams hit this wall. The roles and playing times are really clear, and that clarity starts to stir up some emotions. The group chats might be heating up. Little side conversations are happening on the bus. Small friend groups are created into these cliques. Performance is starting to dip. There's a tension that is rising, often before the adults fully know what's happening. Toxic cliques on your team are not just a social problem. They are a performance problem. They're eroding the trust, focus, and the confidence of your athletes. Here's the upside. Culture is coachable. If you have clear, simple structures and you can turn this drama into a reset, it can literally pull your team together instead of pulling them apart. Not going to be easy. We're talking about teenagers. I'm going to give you a framework so that you can recognize this toxic clique situation, reset some standards, and teach conflict resolution. You want to be building this peer accountability that's going to last. The goal, as always, is they become better humans when they leave your program. As an athlete myself and being a coach, a mom of athletes, I can tell you that having healthy teams and close relationships and friendships are a great thing. But toxic teams, they have these exclusive small circles and they control the information, they influence opinions, and this isolates a lot of people on the team. It is poison. You're going to notice that the same players, these athletes always sit together while other athletes are left out. Inside jokes often embarrass specific teammates. Maybe your players are huddled up over their phones after the game or at the end of practice. They're whispering instead of engaging with other teammates. You might notice that the quieter athletes on your team, they've stopped giving their input in the huddles or in your team meetings, and parents start to mention drama more than development. These aren't little side issues. When athletes worry about being judged or pushed out of the circle of the team, they hesitate, they play tight, they stop taking the necessary risks that you need them to do so that you can win. Step one is a simple one. Treat culture like a core performance variable for your team. This is not a background noise situation. This is one of the most important things. You need to make sure that they understand you. So be very clear. Tell them this is non-negotiable. This is the standard. It's not a maybe, it's a must do. You can't fix the clique situation with a slogan like, be a good teammate. You need specific behavior standards. You need to hold a meeting and calmly name what you're seeing without calling out individuals. Then it's time to be really specific with how the teammates are going to treat each other everywhere. Practice, games, school, in the group chat, on social media. We don't want there to be any type of confusion here. You should be anchoring this to your program values, things like unity, effort, and respect. They can't just be words that you throw around. You need to actually walk the walk. Spell out what this looks like in action, inviting others in, speaking directly, using eye contact, supporting people in tough moments. Quite literally tell them what it looks like because they don't know. Tell them what it doesn't look like. Gossiping, side text, the silent treatment. You need to be honest with them and say, of course, situations are going to come up. We're going to have issues. It is not sunshine and rainbows. Just like we're teaching them how to act, we want to teach them how to deal with this conflict. Remember, most athletes don't know how to handle the conflict. They just know how to avoid it or vent online. You want to give them simple, repeatable processes so that they can use this. You should expect them to use it. Remind them, I expect you to use this. First thing they want to do is they want to pause and cool off. I love breath work here. Inhale and exhale. You don't want them to force a heated confrontation right after a game or practice. Tell them to think about themselves. Would they want someone to walk up to them when they're having an issue right at the moment? No. Tell them to think of a non-sport situation too in this situation. Maybe it's something in school or if they have a job. If something goes wrong, they make a mistake. Do they want someone coming at them all in right then? Or would it be a good idea to pause, take a breath, come talk to that person later? Second, they need to name this issue when they do talk to the person with I statements. I felt when, be specific, instead of you always do this. Anytime you can use an I statement, this brings it back to this is me telling you what I see instead of that attack mode where you're saying you. The third thing is each person needs to speak and then they need to be a good listener. This means you need to watch your eye rolling, laughing, your body language. When someone is speaking, you should be actively listening. Tell them what that is. They don't know. Active listening means you're not just waiting to jump in and attack back. You're thinking about what this person is saying, trying to take the feedback from them, thinking, okay, where are they coming from? It is not easy to do. And tell them that. This is not easy to do. It is something that we are practicing. The fourth thing that you need to tell your athletes is when they are taking the pause, thinking, I need to go talk with this other teammate, they themselves need to be thinking, okay, what is the impact here? Maybe they didn't mean harm by this. When you take that pause, you need to think about what is the impact, the intent. Maybe I'm seeing it differently, a different perspective. It's a really good time for reflection. Fifth, they need to agree at the end of this on one or two specific things that each person is willing to try. Maybe it's as simple as, I'm willing to think about this and see how I am a part of this. Maybe it is, I'm going to reflect more about this and see how I could be a better teammate to you. You have to be both willing to have a part and what can I do to be a better teammate and make our team become better as the whole group. Finally, it's important to follow up with each other later and see how things are going. This is not just like one and done situation. I had words with her and now I'm done. No. You have to remember that you treat this conflict resolution like any other skill you would be teaching or practicing for your sport. You practice it again, you reinforce it. You're not just going to go and practice your diving and think, okay, you know what? I'm done with that now. No, you're going to come back to it, right? If your team was struggling on defense, you're not going to talk about it once. You're going to come back to this and say, okay, this is what we're working on. Then when we come back to practice or another game, how are we doing now, right? We revisit it. I'm not saying we have to beat this to death, but it's not a one and done situation usually. Sometimes maybe we could squash it and move on. It really does depend on each unique situation. In most cases, though, it's definitely a second conversation. Athletes are going to learn through this that going directly to each other is going to work so much better than going to that group chat or the side conversation. Shout out to everybody who's on Apple and Spotify giving me these reviews. I love you. I wanted to share one of the reviews with you. Jeff wrote, "This is a great platform to share and listen to other people's stories on how to find the champion within. A lot of time you don't think much about it and feel like you're in this by yourself. Kate is a great conversationalist and pulls the best out of people. Thank you so much, Jeff, for that review on Apple Podcast. If you like the show, it means so much to me that you go to the review, scroll down, tap those stars, and write something in there. I really, really appreciate it, and it helps other people find the show. I wanted to send a big thank you to all of you that have been listening and writing reviews. It is so much appreciated. Let's talk about your captains and your team culture. If you as the coach are picking your captains just because they're seniors or because you think they're the most talented or popular on the team, this is a terrible decision. I'm sorry if that pisses you off, but it's a terrible, terrible decision. You need to redefine this role. I want to be very clear with you right now. If you are a coach, you need to turn this up, maybe rewind, take some notes. Your captains are the culture carriers of your team. They are not your mini coaches. They are not the rule enforcers. Their job is to protect the standard that you set. That means that they're noticing someone who's isolated. They're going to be addressing this tension early. They're redirecting negative talk. They should be setting an inclusive tone during warm-ups, in the huddle, on the bench. Anytime I am with a team, I call the captains in and I tell them, you set the tone. First time we're meeting and I'm the mental performance coach, I say, coaches, I need to talk with your captains. The captains set the tone. And when you have a strong group of captains and they are willing to do all those things that I just listed, and you meet with the captains on a regular basis as the coach, you're giving them the language and you start having these conversations with them. You tell them, you set the tone at practice in the games. You're holding them accountable to this standard. Everything is going to shift on your team. These leaders are going to model this respect and direct communication. The cliques are going to lose much of their influence when your captains do this. Listen, teenagers are smart, right? We're going to have secretive little subgroups, and I know that you're going to have friendships that are different. It's okay that that's going to happen, but we need to be really careful and intentional here. Outside of the sport, of course, people are going to grow closer. This is just how life is. But to create intentional peer groups is a good idea. Having small accountability circles, maybe you meet with groups briefly each week or every other week. Let athletes reflect on how they're living the team values. Maybe if we're working together as mental performance and we're journaling and reflecting, they get together and they reflect. They talk about their answers. Keep it simple. It doesn't have to be this big, huge thing, but when athletes are able to do this with different people, it gives them a different perspective. It's not just one way all the time, and they feel supported by the whole team. This helps them improve in so many ways. It's not just the same thing all the time. As they connect with different people, the trust is going to grow. When they're handling something that's really frustrating them, sport-related or not, they have more go-to people, and that's exactly what we want for our student athletes. The goal is always ownership, not blame. I need to jump in here. Coach, quick question. Do your athletes look amazing at practice, but when the game gets tight or you have a big competition, they panic, lose focus, fall apart, start talking negatively before they even compete, missed plays, bad body language, heads down? You know they have the talent, but pressure is winning. That's not a talent problem. That's a mental side of the sport problem. I run a team program called The Champion Within, where I train athletes using my CHAMP framework: confidence, habits, attitude, mental imagery, and purpose. I literally retrain their brains so they know how to stay calm, get focused, and compete like the champions they are. When the moments get big, they need to know how to regulate their nervous system. It needs to be automatic. The teams that win consistently, they train their minds, not just their bodies. Just go down to the show notes, click on the link, or send me a DM on Instagram with the word team, and I'll get you everything you need. Okay, let's get back to the podcast. Remember, You need to be very specific about social media. Include this online behavior in your culture standards because our kids are using it. Make sure that you're very clear that they're not putting posts out there, that they're mocking their teammates, that they're saying things that are going to get them in trouble, that they're complaining about their roles. Maybe them just saying, oh, it's just jokes. No, that is damaging the team trust now and in the future. It also could be damaging their future opportunities. You need to be teaching your athletes how they manage their emotions and how they're putting it out there into the world, whether that's face-to-face with their athletes, through a text message, or on social media. When I'm working with a team, we use mental performance tools like visualization, breath work, EFT tapping. This helps them to be less likely to flip out on each other, to post something online that they regret later, or send that text that really they shouldn't be sending. Remember, mid-season drama is not a sign your team is broken. It's a sign your culture is being tested. These little cliques, the gossip, the resentment, it's going to grow in these spaces where expectations, the communication, and accountability are unclear to your athletes. So when you sharpen that, you get really specific. You tell them what your standards are. You literally repeat this so they're like, okay, we know. You're teaching them this simple process to deal with the conflict. You redefine things with your captains so they know exactly what to do as the culture leaders, and you're building peer accountability. You're going to change how your athletes think and act, not only in your sport, but under pressure everywhere in their life. They learn how to face hard conversations, support each other through disappointment, and prioritize the team over the group chat. That's how you're going to squash the toxic cliques. Not with fear, not with like, you better stop doing this, blah, blah, blah. Believe me that the yelling and the fear tactics are not going to work. You're just going to piss them off. You need to be clear with them. You need to have some courage and maybe get a little bit uncomfortable having some conversations. This is how you're going to give every single athlete on your team a real chance to step into the champions that they are.
Thank you for hanging out with Kate today. And whether you're going to coach, teach, cheer from the sidelines, or hitting the field yourself, remember, mindset is everything. Don't forget to follow the show for the latest episodes, as we all need a little extra motivation, humor, and sanity in our busy lives. Now, go and unleash your champion within you, one step at a time. We're always rooting for you.